Today's morning power up call. And today is actually done at our old time, our old standard time of 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we are live at the old time in the home base with the OG energy, the OG feeling of this podcast from back when we first started this. And I'd say podcast, it's sort of become something like that. The morning power up calls have evolved over time. We've shared some deep insights. I've given you guys keys. We've talked about new things inside of the boot camp, new things inside of the program. We discovered a lot of really amazing and interesting ways to evolve the campus, things that happen inside of the legions. We've done a lot. We've covered a lot of things inside of these morning power up calls. Yesterday evening, when I ran the last one, I began what I like to think is a series of calls, a series of these short video episodes discussing what I feel to be one of the most powerful and value containing quotes I've ever encountered in my entire life. And that is the one that Emery Tate shared with his son so many years ago, where he said, "My unmatched perspicacity coupled with my sheer indefatigability makes me a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor." And yesterday we started talking about this, right? We talked about the perspicacity side of it. Today we're going to talk about the indefatigability side of it. Now, most people, when they hear this quote, they think, "Wow, this is fun. It sounds cool. We've got some cool words here." It sort of tickles the brain, let's say. But most people don't actually take time to sit down and figure out what this quote actually means, right? Because this is a core quote. This is something that has made a major imprint on our friend Morpheus and allowed him to achieve what he has achieved. It's because of the ideas inside of this quote, right? These mindsets that he received from his father. Now, today we're going to talk about the indefatigability side of it and how you can adapt and adopt that into your own life. We're going to talk about why it's important, and we're going to talk about how you can use it as a copywriter, right? We're going to talk about the general principle, and we're going to take it all the way down to your day-to-day life, how to apply it in your current move forward as becoming, to become a better copywriter, to become someone who has skills that can then turn around in the marketplace and get paid a high amount of money to use those skills to help people grow their business. So we're going to talk about this. Briefly, for those of you who didn't watch yesterday's call, I recommend you go back and watch it. We talked about the first part, which is the perspicacity, which is key to this, right? You cannot begin this approach to life until you decide to be perspicacious, when you decide to start paying attention. When you decide to start seeing and looking through the world around you, that's what perspicacious actually, just as a side note for those of you guys who were on the call yesterday, perspicacious, if you look at the word origin, it has a lot to do with cutting through your vision, your ability to cut through and see through something, right? So this is where you look beyond just the surface level. And you do this so you can identify the right move, the right thing you need to do at a time. You identify the key path, the key levers you need to pull. Once you understand that through your perspicacity, once you're able to glean and see the correct path forward, then you need to bring your indefatigability to bear. Now, indefatigability means the inability to get tired. You cannot get tired. You don't run out of strength. You don't run out of energy. Now, most people look at this and they think it means just like day to day, not having a lot of energy day to day, right? And that's a part of it. But indefatigability is a choice. It's a choice to never stop, right? There is this idea that once you've achieved clarity of thought, once you've seen the path forward, once you know what you need to do to get the thing that you want, you latch on and you don't let go until you get it, right? You throw yourself at that path until you get what you want, and you never accept surrender, right? If you have an opponent, let's say you're fighting, let's say you're sparring, you're fighting in the ring, right? And you have an opponent that no matter how hard you hit him, he always gets up and continues to fight. And he never stays down, or he never gives up, and he continues to fight and fight and fight. If you're a mortal being against that man, you will lose every single time, right? The goal is to become that man, to become the person whose strength and energy never runs out. And that's a choice. That's a choice that no matter what happens when you're on the correct path. Now, again, you need to make sure you're on the correct path. You need to be perspicacious. You need to find the correct attack vector to get what you want. But once you found that, you need to choose to be relentless. Choose to never give up and choose to push yourself forward until you achieve this, right? Most people in the world are fatigable. They get tired. They give up, right? They work hard at becoming a copywriter for a month, maybe a couple weeks, maybe a day, right? And then they realize it's difficult and they get tired and they give up on that outcome that they decided they were going to have. If you are serious about getting what you want, you will overcome any obstacle you need to. You will force yourself to rise to the occasion every time. You'll find a way to trigger the strength and energy you need to move forward one more time, knowing that mathematically, if you never give up and you continue to make smart moves, you will eventually break through and win, right? It's a mathematical certainty at that point. It's a law of nature. Sheer indefatigability has a lot less to do with like not sleeping and just working a lot. It has more to do with your decision to relentlessly pursue the course of action that you know is correct and you know will give you the results that you want. If you refuse to give up, if you refuse to die, you will always win. You are therefore immortal, right? It is a choice. It is a deliberate choice. When you are faced with obstacles, you need to decide if you are going to keep your integrity and purpose together and move forward, or if you will let it fall apart. And that's, if you look at the word origin for fatigue, it's about splitting up. It's about working. It's about something reaching the point where it splits or it breaks, right? And the more I think about the fatigability, the indefatigability side of it, it's not so much that you physically break, it's that your determination to succeed breaks, right? That's what fatigue is. Something, the stress, the difficulty becomes so strong that it splits your ability or your decision to move forward. The key is to decide to keep that strong no matter what, right? You get knocked down, you find a way back up. You run into a new obstacle, you don't let that split up your purpose. You keep your purpose and your decision strong and you move forward. This ties back to something we talked about in a previous call about the difference between wanting something and deciding to have something, right? Indefatigability comes after you've decided that you are going to create a specific outcome. So you all need to ask yourself, if you want indefatigability, if you want the ability to continue to work and to push through difficulty and succeed, if you want to have what it takes to become a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor, you need to first decide. You need to move somehow from wanting something to deciding that you are going to have to cutting off any other alternative and making that your only acceptable outcome, your only acceptable future, and find a way to make it happen, right? So that is what I want each and every one of you to do today. I want you to take some time. I want you to sit down with a pen and paper, or perhaps go look at yourself in a mirror and ask yourself if you are ready, if you feel like you can decide that you are going to become successful, decide that you are going to master the skill of copywriting, not just want it, but decide that it will be yours. Once you make that decision, you can reach back and you can tap into that idea of the decision to give you endless energy as you approach new obstacles. When you run into something, you run into some difficulty, when you send out your first batch of emails and nobody replies, you can reach back and think about that decision, and it will give you the strength to then push forward and continue to try again and again and again and operate through that OODA loop until you succeed, right? But it is all determinant on your ability to maintain your strength and energy because of the power of your decision. That is where indefatigability comes from. That is the key, right? And sure, there's a lot of other things you need to do. You need to learn how to manage your energy, not give it away to the wrong people, not give it away to the wrong things. You need to make sure it's focused on the correct stuff. You need to make sure you're eating right, that you're training right, that you're sleeping the appropriate amount, not too much, not too little. All of those things go into giving yourself energy, but they mean absolutely nothing until you've made the decision that you are going to have the outcome, and you are not going to give up until that happens. You are continuing to try and throw yourself at the new attack vector over and over again until you get what you want. That is the decision that precedes all other aspects of managing your energy and becoming indefatigable, right? So that's the exercise for today. That's the questions you need to ask yourself. That is the process you need to go through if you want to become unstoppable. If you want that relentless driving energy, it comes from that decision. So I want you all to go and renew the power of that decision in your mind. I want you to build up the strength of that decision in your mind, your resolve and commitment to achieve that goal. And then you can reach back and tap into that idea and use it to propel you through the difficulty. And you can apply that no matter where you are in the program, whether you're just starting the boot camp, whether you're in your legion, you're doing the competition, you're trying to find a new creative way to create a new form of outreach. It doesn't matter where you are. You can tap into this indefatigability to help you propel yourself towards that goal of financial freedom. Because that's ultimately why you were here in this program. That's ultimately why we are all here on this call right now, is to find and give you keys that will help you build yourself into the man who earns and achieves financial freedom so you can live a life of ultimate freedom. Indefatigability and perspicacity are prerequisites to that goal. So that being said, take this time, take this information, go and apply it to your day, and I will talk with you guys again tomorrow.